This is part 2 of the setup Ingram Spark with Phyllis. Remember in the first part when we were going through it, at the end, it said that we could not move on because we were not 100% set up correctly. We were. Sometimes you can clear your cookies and go back in and it will let you go in. Other times you just have to walk away and go back the next day, and it seems to have corrected itself. So don't let that bother you. You're going to come in, you're going to log in, and you're going to go to titles. Right now at the beginning, when you go to titles, you don't have anything here. So we're going to add a title, and we're going to do the print book only. I don't recommend ebooks on Ingram Spark. I recommend you stick with your ebook on Kindle, on Amazon KDP for the first 90 days. See how things go. And if you want to go wide and take your, you don't want to be exclusive anymore with Amazon, you can go in and use Draft to Digital to get your ebook out to all of the different places that it needs to go. You'll need an EPUB to do that, but I just don't do the ebooks here. So we're just going to say print book only. And I'm going to say, yes, my files are ready. We're going to check off that, yes, we've got the cover and the interior. And then it's going to ask you this question here. Do you want to print, distribute, and sell the book? Or is you only printing this for yourself? So either one of these is fine. I'm going to say we're distributing and selling the book and click continue. Okay. Remind me, Phyllis, what the title is of the book. Grandpa's Short Stories. Actually, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to recommend that you guys do, Phyllis, I think I need you to take yourself off of mute. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to log into KDP so that I can also go back and forth, because Phyllis and I did already do some Amazon setup. So we've got Grandpa's Short Stories over here. And I want one really important thing is that what you write on KDP must match what you write on Ingram Spark. Otherwise, when Ingram Spark sends their listing, and remember, Amazon doesn't let us do hardcovers, so we're relying for our children's book on Ingram Spark to do the hardcover for us. So when they send their hardcover over to Amazon, it needs to link up with our ebook and our paperback on KDP so that it all comes together and it looks seamless, like it's all one listing. You don't want to have multiple listings if you can help it. So sometimes I'll just come here and I don't want to add or just have some slight issues. So I just kind of copy from one to the other. So Grandpa's Short Stories, we have English, the ISBN
979-8-9865197-1-5.
Perfect. I'll copy that. Okay. So I'm going to say here, it wants to know if you own the copyright or if this is a public domain work. You own the copyright, and then it's giving you this, does it include somebody else's name, pictures that are not yours? No, we've followed all the rules. If you say yes, it's not going to let you publish. So it's no, it doesn't include any bad stuff. And then you're going to see some spots here on the Ingram Spark title where you can, excuse me, you can click and add a little bit more stuff. It's not everybody puts a subtitle or a series name, but you will want to just make sure you take a look at all of these hidden fields. I do recommend for most of you that you do find a subtitle that works, especially one that's rich with keywords. For the sake of this setup, we'll skip that for now. And If Phyllis and I, when we do our keywords, we find a really good subtitle, we'll go put it in both of these. And if I remember correctly, this is going to be Grandpa's Short Stories is going to be a series. Is that correct or not?
No, it is not. It's
okay.
5 short stories together.
Okay, so just for those of you that do have series, you'll put your series name here, and then is it going to be book 1, book 2, book 3? You'll put that here. Roger Williams. So I will say one mistake I see made quite a bit is the middle initial will be put on one side and not the other. Or some people, like I had one individual who had her maiden name as like a middle name, and then she had a last name. So on one side, she put it here, first name, middle name, and then last name. And then on the other site, she put first name and then the second 2 names here. So just make sure, if you're using that, you're just doing it the same way on both sides. Now you have the ability to go in and do these. This is optional to go and add the biography, any information about prior work, country, contributors, location. So, and if in affiliations are like, I'm a member of the Alliance of Independent Authors. Some people are members of some prestigious organizations that they want shown on their bio. I don't usually go deep into this, but you can absolutely do that if you want to. Then I would also have a contributor that is your illustrator. And I often am asked, do I really need to credit the illustrator? You don't have to, but boy, I really recommend that you do. This person has put something into your artwork in your children's book that would not have been possible without it. And I am all for, even though they're work for hire contracts, for giving credit where credit is due and helping to build up, because we know we're putting together beautiful, high quality books. So we want to build up and help that individual's career as well, right? Give them the credit. So, yes. And it's Barbara. How do you spell Barbara's last name?
O-W, C as in cat, Z as in zebra, A-R-E-K.
Okay. So that's it. Some people will add contributors. I have a Spanish translator who in the contract, when you sign with her to translate something, she always wants you to add her as a contributor. Some people put their editor or someone else on it. I would always just ask people if you're going to add them as a contributor, just let them know and ask them how they want to be listed or if there's anything more that they want to include. Your imprint is already selected because when we set up the account, we set this organization name. So that's what it uses. Subjects really corresponds with categories for Amazon. So when we put some things here, let's see, multi-generational. There are certain terms that I know, I want to look for her categories. So we've got juvenile, nonfiction, or juvenile fiction for multi-generational. I assume this is a fiction story. Okay, so we'll just put it as fiction and we'll hit add for that. And you're allowed to choose here. It says 3 subjects. And if you've got questions about what belongs in any of these fields, you can go ahead and just click on the little question mark and you get the help that you need or more definition about it. And we always have access to this support area here. Sometimes during business hours, they're there on chat. That went away for a while with COVID, but now it's back. So you are able to reach out to chat during normal business hours if you need help. So we're going to find 2 others. So think about, so we've got sports and fishing and camping going on. Anything else you can think of that you'd want maybe as category?
Hiking.
Okay, so let's
raising pets.
Juvenile fiction. So we'll just kind of scroll through this. Fables, family. Okay. Is it tied to a certain location of like a certain area?
I just think it's probably pretty much rural town USA, you know?
Country. So would country life or farm and ranch
Yes,
life? Which one of those?
country life, farm
Okay.
and ranch.
Okay. So we'll do that. And then let's see what else we've got here we've got sports and recreation. That's perfect. So now we've got 3 subjects. With our Amazon categories, when we're updating the books, we're only able to choose 2. And then you're able to go in and add 8 more categories. That's not the case with Ingram Spark. They allow you to do 3. And when it gets submitted to Amazon, I'd say 8 times out of 10, you will ask them to add additional categories and they'll say, sorry, it's not a KDP book. We can't do that. Couple times I've seen them slip through. So, it's kind of one of those things that they're not supposed to do it, but you never know. There may be times when you see that does come through.
Now, you asked for the paperback ISBN. Now, we're in Ingram Sparks though, aren't we?
Yes. So that's a really great point. I am putting the paperback on both platforms. Does anybody have any idea why I would be doing that? They distribute to the bookstores. So if you didn't set up your paperback there, then all they would have access to was the hardcover, and you actually make more money on the paperback. So why not give them both choices? So your paperback and your hardcover will show up on Barnes and Noble. If it ends up on Target online, you'll end up with both of them there. Walmart quite often pulls our books in. Libraries, bookstores that you visit that say they have an Ingram account will be able to purchase both your paperback and your hardcover.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Now we're selecting an audience, juvenile, 4 to 8. I'm going to do grade range K to 3. And there's a little silly thing over here where it keeps wiping out the K. So you have to keep re-entering it if you happen to go back and forth through things. It doesn't seem to save this. But now if you wanted to put if this was a chapter book and you wanted to put a table of contents, and same thing with adult books, if you have review quotes like a Kirkus review, things that we would add as editorial reviews on the Amazon side, you could put here for quotes here. There's also something called Fema Subjects. Now, this is not something that Amazon has, but if I look here, it says these are used by global retailers, bookstores, libraries, publishers to describe a title's content for international discovery and sales. It's similar to the BISAC code. Fema is a classification scheme to identify major categories for a work, including genres, topics, and themes. And as I look into these type of Fema categories, you see like this one here, there's things about the location. My books are set in New England, so I could choose that. Maybe somebody's in there looking for books set in New England, right? So if the librarian's trying to help somebody pull things up, these are some of the fields that can come up in their search. There's also, so this is the regional subject, and then there's the Fema subjects, which we can find over here, and they have children. So I'm just going to go in here, and for the children's ones, because it should all be children's underneath children. So here we've got children's picture books. So, and you can choose bedtime, imagination, and play. So you can add some subjects in here. I've also seen people do something like diversity. So diversity, inclusion. They will go in and let people know that, hey, there's some special things that I think people might be searching for that I want you to know are a part of my book. So you can, and it doesn't stop at 3. You can add a whole mess of them in here.
Okay.
So now we're going to go to the description. Since we already did this on the detail page in KDP, I'm just going to copy and paste. And there's a little something fluky in here that happens with copying and pasting into Ingram Spark. What happens is when we move on, I'm going to just click on the HTML here. It adds like an extra paragraph. So here, this is just the behind the scenes codes that show. So I'm trying to show you that like this is an open paragraph. This is a page break, a line break, and then a closed paragraph. So it adds like a bunch of extra space in between paragraphs, which you don't need. So even though this doesn't look right, I'm just going to delete the extra spaces so that it actually saves correctly. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but remove the extra spaces for Ingram Spark. Now, one of the things I also remember, I told you everything needed to match from Ingram Spark to Amazon for them to link up. Well, I never would have thought that the description was one of those things, but recently, one of my authors was told that their listing wasn't linking up because of the description. I thought that was craziness, and I didn't believe the person. I figured she just got somebody that didn't know what they were doing. But after we fixed it and made it exactly the same, it actually linked. Just make sure that if you have one description, even if it's just a space difference, it won't sync up. It has to be exactly the same. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Keywords. So what I would do, you don't have to use the same exact keywords, but we did a lot of keyword analysis on this one. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to copy the keyword phrase. I'm going to paste it in over here, put a semicolon in the middle. Let's go here. Okay. There. And this gets, all the keyword searches that we've done into the Ingram system, which if it goes to Amazon, our book is already going to be indexed for these things. But if it's the library systems or the bookstores that are looking things up, we want to make sure that they also get the same kind of keywords that we want to include. I think we're good. Last but not least, there. Okay, so now I've got all the keywords and I want to take a look here. What is it that I'm missing? So this is the short description. Amazon doesn't have a short description and a long description, but remember this Ingram Spark is linking up with all these other places, and some of them on their website may only display a short description. It is very important that we keep it very short because they only give us very little room. That's good. I think just one sentence is about all that we have room for. Exactly 2 characters left we could do, but this is fine. We'll click continue. So now we filled out the very first page. Now at this point, and you can see across the top here, we did the title info. Now we're doing the print info. It goes to upload, verification, payment, and complete. So you can see it colors it as you go through it. Now here, the trim size, 8.5 by 11. Keep me honest here. Got to keep an eye on me. I can get into trouble. All right, so we got color. Now I'm going to talk about premium color versus standard color here. The 70-pound paper, you see underneath it says color. Let me just zoom in. Color printed on 70-pound white paper. Color printed on 70-pound white paper. So whether you do the premium, which has more saturation, or you do the standard, which is it's not as much depth of color, but it's much less expensive, by like $2.50 or so. So that's that much more per book you can put in your pocket instead if you don't have to pay for premium color. So what I recommend people do is try the standard, order one for yourself to look at. And if you feel like you want it to be brighter or you want more color to it, then go and change it to the premium and order one of those. Get it to what you need. When you go to the premium, you're going to pay more for that. So it's completely your choice, but at least you've got the same color, the same thickness of paper on both. Okay. And actually for the paperback, I recommend the premium because I've seen so many test it out and have to go back and choose the premium because the paperback seems to come in a little bit light. That's not true for the hardcover. So in this case, I'll say, let's do premium. Maybe we'll go try the standard later. Paperback. So you still, as you see, you just keep choosing, and then you got to go and choose the last one. Perfect bound is the only choice when it comes to paperback. That's fine. Now they want to know if you want gloss or matte.
Gloss.
Gloss. That's what I like too. So premium color, it gives you the size, perfect bound on white with gloss lamination. And then this duplex enabled, it says you can print on the inside cover of your paperback books. So you can do that. There's some additional things that need to be done, like a separate file that has to be uploaded. In our case for now, I'm just going to say no, because I think it's ridiculous to print on the back of a paperback book if you're not going to do it on your hardcover. So until they do, I just keep saying no.
Paper gloss, is that a better quality of color versus the matte?
No. So one thing that I've heard, I mean, the gloss is just, it's glossy. You got that sheen as you turn it. The matte is more flat. And so there's not a gloss to it. But what I have heard from a number of people that ordered the matte, they said it feels a little tacky. So you can try, if you really love matte, try it, order it, see if it feels okay to you. If you don't, if you're not loving it, then switch it to gloss. I happen to just love gloss. It's that shine to it. But there's not as many choices as if you were going with an offset printer or digital printer. So they're kind of limited in what you can do. Okay. I'm going to make this bigger. This is one of those tricky spots with Ingram Spark where if you mess up, it makes you go through a heck of a lot more work. So I'm just going to go here and did we say $12.99, Phyllis, for this book?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll do 12. Decimal point 99, and then I'm just going to tab over. And so this will go down and show all of the different conversion factors, and it puts the pricing in. But if you happen to do 12 dots and then, something happens and you get this wrong when you enter it, you can go back and try to re-enter it, and it's not ever going to do this again for you. So you have to go look it all up, look up the conversions. So try to be careful when you do that. All right. So wholesale discount. Now this is, what are you offering to individuals, to these bookstores and retailers and libraries that you can provide to them as a discount? Now they would like us to give them a 55% discount. And they also would like us to say, yes, we will allow them to return the book. So when we do this, you can see at $12.99, it only gives us $1.28 compensation. If we wanted to give a 55% trade discount, which is preferred, then it gives us very little. So what we could do is we could come here and we could change it to standard color. Let's just see what happens when I do that. Now this changes to a little bit more, $2.49. The other thing we can do is we can come in here and we have the ability to go, we have a minimum of 30%. So if we give the bare minimum of a discount, we're very likely not going to have a whole lot of places interested in working and getting just a 30% discount. They usually want more. They seem to be okay with a higher retail price. So if we bump this up, we would be able to kind of play with the compensation. And one of the things I recommend is before you get in here, go grab the Ingramspark Calculator, because you can figure out all of these things. I'm going to go put this back to premium color. And so now we see that premium color with the minimum wholesale discount, you are getting $4.50 a book on your paperbacks. Now you can do a little more, like maybe do 40%, which is what Amazon takes. And you can, so you can up it a little bit and maybe they would be interested. So some of the bookstores that you work with, you might stop by. Do you have an Ingram account? Are you interested in the book? Introduce yourself, show them what you've got. And if they go into their system and they say, well, gee, I would need you to increase it to X because that's my policy. I only bring books in if they've got X of a discount or more. So you might see that this will need to be adjusted, but at least you have things you can play with. Sometimes nowadays, with all of the prices of printing going up, paper going up, the gas prices where the truckers are having to pay more, everything is being impacted in the price of our books. So I wouldn't be surprised if paperbacks go to $13.99 or $14.99. And if you were to do that, you'd see the compensation go up. So it's just figure out what works best for you. This is probably what I would recommend just to get started with. And now we're going to do the same if you're not doing the 55, you choose other, and then you choose what the discount is. Now the return, I want to just talk about this. The way that I was coached to do it is US and Canada say yes, let them destroy them. Now the thought of somebody destroying beautiful children's books makes me sick to my stomach. So in my mind, I say, oh, they're not going to destroy them. Indeed, they're just going to donate them or something. So it just makes me feel better. But if I was to say, deliver them back to me, then I have to pay for the price of them shipping it back to me. And by the time I do that and pay for what, their returning of the book, the printing of the book, it's going to cost me more than if I just tell them to just destroy it. So I just tell them to destroy them. The others, I make I say, no, I don't want to accept. I don't want them to be returnable in the UK and these other areas. You may feel differently depending on where you are. So I was just always coached to do this. I never really dug into why not do the yes, destroy for all of them. I don't know. But so you can decide if you want to make them returnable. But I think in general, it means that we're focusing on the United States and Canadian markets to make it more attractive. And then the others, if they sell, that's fine. I do have a couple of authors who have refused to allow returns because they have found that there were issues when they made them returnable. What happens is that when somebody returns, let's just say it's going on Christmas time, and this is exactly what happened to one author. There were hundreds of copies of her book purchased by different stores. And then when they didn't sell, there was it ended up being a big return that was ended up being like $1,200 or $1,300 of returns. And she ended up, all of that money was coming out of all of what she made. And then they were telling her she owed that much money back to them. So they do expect they will take it out of your royalties until it's paid back, or they'll ask you to pay that amount. So if you say, you know what, I don't want that to happen to me, you can say no. Just realize that on the other side, there are policies like with Barnes and Noble and others where they won't bring a book into the store if it's not returnable, unless somebody is going and specifically requesting a book, then they will. But in general, they're not going to bring a title in bulk if it's not returnable. They don't want to take on that risk.
Is it wise to just do the 55%, or what do you think?
Well, if you did the 55%, it gives you $1.28 a book, but you do have more chance of them purchasing the book. So it's completely up to you. If you were going to do this, I would say then let's bump up. Let's just say, I don't think this is going to go down and change any of these others, which it doesn't. It's ridiculous. Ingram Spark, you can do better. So if we bump this up by a couple of dollars, we put this to 55% and say, yes, they can return it. That gives you $2. You make $2.18 a book. Now, maybe you'll get a lot more sales that way. If not, you can always come back in and change this at any time.
Okay.
There is what will happen is if you have a book returnable and then you say, I want to take it off being returnable, there's a certain period of time, and I don't know how long it is. I'd have to look it up, but where people who purchased the book, they're kind of grandfathered in and they get to return it for a certain period, even though you've changed your book to non-returnable. So anybody that buys it new would have it not returnable.
Okay. Let's stay with 40.
Okay.
But I can change my mind. So
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, given the fact that all the prices are going up, I think we should maybe go in and bump this up, because now at least you're getting $3.82 instead of just a couple of dollars a book. Just do this. I know this isn't exact. I will probably just compare the prices with Amazon's, because in KDP, when I change it, no matter how many times I change it, it recalculates. So Amazon's doing something good there. And then we'll just make sure that this works correctly. So $3.82 for the US. You see these others are in. And then you have to come here and you can agree. You need to agree to accept all of these. It's here. I understand that selecting yes, destroy means copies of the title can be returned to Ingram, and I will not receive a physical copy in return. So that's what we just explained.
okay.
I understand applying a discount less than 55% can limit the likelihood that bookstores in some markets will purchase my title. That's what we also talked about. Selecting no return option means US retailers cannot return copies of my book. I understand that. I accept all prices above and understand automatic currency conversions reflect the pricing. Okay, and then I would enable look inside. And then I'm going to show you this area here. Publication dates. Phyllis, did we talk about what the publication date was going to be? Did we pick one?
Yeah, we did not pick an exact date, but I'm still looking at October.
You're gonna let me talk you into earlier than that. Oh, that's right, because you're not going to get things in time. Okay.
Right.
So we'll put it as October 4th. We'll try that, or is that too early?
Give me I won't get back in town until October 5th. So let's do the 10th or the 15th.
I'm going to do the 11th of October because it's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Every time I've ever launched on a Monday, it's been crappy. People are going back to work. So I picked Tuesday launches. You guys can do what you want to if you've got a lucky day of the week, but it seems just stay away from Mondays and Fridays if you can. Weekends are not usually very good, but I've seen some people who have a really engaged audience that is in the system on weekends, and it did okay. So you can decide, but I had to unhide this. Remember, when you get to publication dates, you're going to want to keep these dates the same, because once this gets submitted, if the two dates are the same and you have a period of time in the future that is on sale, that's what flags the book to come up as on pre-order. So here, this is a new book by Samantha Pillay, and you can see that it's got the Kindle, the paperback, the hardcover all synced up together. I might as well talk about this. So when your title gets first sent out to to Amazon, it's published on Ingramspark. Everything looks fine on Ingramspark. You go to Amazon and you'll be like, what is this? what is going on here? It just takes Amazon a little while to make all the data completely showing. If we look here on, it says currently unavailable. It'll eventually get there. If it goes another couple of days, I'm just going to reach out and see if they, and ask Amazon what the heck's going on. The other thing you can do also is you can ask Ingramspark to do something called rebroadcast the data. So it sends the data again to all of the folks. When I go on to Barnes and Noble for this, you can see that Candy Cane Fiasco is showing up correctly. So you'll see it is correctly pushed out onto Barnes and Noble with the paperback on pre-order. And it's also got the hardcover, and this is what you'll expect to see with your books as well. The hardcover is also showing on pre-order. Sometimes, look, there's 50% off hundreds of hardcovers and more deals. So sometimes the Barnes and Noble site, keep an eye open on these things, because if you've got like, you know, buy one, get one free books, or you've got $4 off books, you can let people know in your circle and use it for advertising to say, hey, by the way, my book is in the list. It's available. You get this special discount. Sometimes Walmart does it. Sometimes, especially around the holidays, Target, Walmart, and Barnes and Noble are good ones online that do some pretty steep discounting around the holidays. So again, you can pre-order, and it will allow people to buy. So the fact that Ingramspark pushed out the data and it looks perfectly fine here on Barnes and Noble tells me that this is an Amazon thing, Amazon being Amazon, and they don't have this very, very quick to pick up and make their titles ready. When somebody goes on Amazon and pre-orders your book, the orders actually show up on Ingramspark, because it's an Ingramspark title. So it's an Ingramspark order. You'll have to, in order to see what your sales are, you're going to have to look at your KDP sales. You're going to have to look at your Ingramspark sales. And unfortunately, Ingramspark doesn't tell you which stores purchased. They just say you sold 20 or 40 or 80, or I know with the pre-orders, I'm seeing like 120, 180 sales on Ingramspark, but we have no idea, was that an Amazon thing and people are pre-ordering on Amazon? Was it a bulk purchase from bookstores or libraries? That you have no visibility into any of that, unfortunately. Okay. All right, so long-winded, I'm sorry. I just think there's stuff to explain as we're going through this. So now we get to the final page. Is just, I'm not going to submit it, but I'll just upload a couple of files, and then I won't save this. Sometimes this takes forever, and you might think it is something you're doing wrong. It's not. It's just Ingramspark being Ingramspark. Their website is currently going through some updates and some improvements, we hear. So hopefully we'll start seeing those coming. You also have to kind of wait until this upload is completely complete, and you'll see like a little trash can appear over here. Because if you start trying to upload the next file before that happens, it'll cancel this out and you have to re-upload it again. So again, like little silly things that seem to be unnecessary aggravations. I really hope that they do a better job of it when it comes to their updates that they're making. So you can see how somebody might think I've done something wrong, or like what's going on here. It's not showing, it's not finishing the upload. Okay. So it's going to be finicky. Okay, now once these two files are loaded, I can hit continue. Now you can see we're progressing to validation. So it does a title validation. Okay, no errors. Continue. So then you get to the very last part and it wants you to pay. I have a promotional code that I have through the Alliance of Independent Authors. and I'm able to get rid of the $49 charge. So as I put this code in and hit apply, I have to wait. And by the way, you must wait until this comes back with $0 and then hit proceed to payment. Otherwise, it's not going to wipe this out. And sometimes in peak business hours, this can be a little bit of a pain in the rear end waiting for, because it's a very time, it takes forever. And then you hit agree, and then you hit submit. Now I'm not going to hit submit because I have the wrong files here, and I do not want to upload those files. And that's it. But then it will come back and say you're done. And when it says you're done, then what I would do next is I would go in, and on the right side of that title, I have the ability to duplicate the title. Just hit the drop down and duplicate it, so that now I have the majority of information entered for the hardcover. And all I need to do is go in and update the ISBNs, we're going to pick hardcover instead of the paperback, and we'll do the pricing for the hardcover. But this gives you a sense as to what's involved with entering the title and setting everything up correctly with Ingramspark. I would say go ahead and give it a try. If you're getting stuck, or if you've got a one-on-one with me, I'm happy to look at it together, just another set of eyes before you submit it. Now, what happens when you submit a title, you're going to see it, your title will say processing. It's going to show as processing. Ingramspark over here, and log in, finish this with them. So you'll see here, we've got some processing stuff going on. It's waiting. It's waiting for these things to print before it takes the revision. So you'll see the titles listed like this. You'll have the ability to duplicate. You'll have the status showing yellow, and it usually says processing. So we wait for that. After it goes from processing, you'll get an email from them saying it's now approved. It's now ready for your approval. So you will go in, and this button over here will say approve. When you click approve, you'll actually see an opportunity to download a virtual, or I should say a digital proof copy of the file. So you can review it, look it over, and then you can approve it to move forward. So just clicking the approve button here is still, you're not actually submitting it. There's another step. You get to look at things, and then you get to move forward. So I hope this was helpful. So just keep working on your setup, and then come back to the meeting times, and we'll keep working. Let me know if you're having trouble and you're stuck and you need some one-on-one help.